Alright. Cerebrum, where is it at?
Because these other ones are kind of good. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so cerebrum is this whole large part of the brain here. And we can see the cerebrum is split into two cerebral hemispheres. Left and right cerebral hemispheres. There's a longitudinal fissure that separates the two cerebral hemispheres. On the back side of the brain is the cerebellum. We can see the cerebellum here. It's next on the list. If we pull apart the cerebrum and the cerebellum, what you see those little bumps in there. That's the midbrain. Each 4 bumps makes up that corpora quadrigemini. If we flip over to the anterior side, and I open it up here so we can see the cross section, on the front part of that brain stem is the pons. If I put it together, you can see it's the little pouch right here in the front, the pons. And if we go to the back side of that pons, the little pouch there, we can see the brain stem with that medulla oblongata that runs all the way down, just in front of the cerebellum here. So here's all the medulla oblongata. Olfactory bulbs. If we put the brain back together and we look at the bottom of this frontal lobe, we can see those olfactory bulbs there. And then they kind of narrow down into an olfactory tracts that go this way. Olfactory bulb, olfactory tracts. We saw the longitudinal fissure on top. The optic nerves, we can see 2 optic nerves right here, and you can see they've been severed. If I look at the whole brain here, we can see 2 optic nerves here, but they have not been severed, and so where they cross is the optic chiasma.
And where's the, I guess, the different ventricles on it?
Okay, so if we look in here, if I open up this brain, we can see the base of this cerebellum. I'm sorry, here's cerebellum. Cerebrum. If you look at the base of the cerebrum, it's attached to this structure called the corpus callosum. And we can actually open up that corpus callosum, and you can see there's a space in there. That space in a real brain or a live brain would be filled with that fluid, that cerebral spinal fluid. And what pumps out that fluid, if you can see it in there, is that little structure right there, the choroid plexus. So that choroid plexus fills this lateral ventricle with fluid. And right beneath that, we can see the thalamus here. The thalamus has a little scooped out region around it. This is the 3rd ventricle. And there's a choroid plexus here that fills the fluid of the 3rd ventricle. And we've kind of got a little bit of debris here, but there's a channel that connects this 3rd ventricle all the way down right here, which is the 4th ventricle. The 4th ventricle is between the cerebellum and the midbrain there. I'm sorry, the cerebellum and that medulla oblongata. So 4th ventricle, 3rd ventricle, and then those lateral ventricles are in that corpus callosum.
And did you hit the pineal body?
We can see.
I think you got the other ones.
Let's grab this one. So here we can see this circular area that's the thalamus. And if we come off the back side of that thalamus, there's this gland here, this is the pineal gland. Don't get this pineal gland confused with the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland hangs off the optic chiasma down here. The pineal gland's on the back of the thalamus. In fact, if I grab this whole brain model here, we can see the optic chiasma. This bulb right here is the pituitary gland.
Okay.
So that pineal gland would be way in the center of the brain.
So pineal gland's the same as pineal body?
Pineal body, same one.
Okay. And I think that's it.
That region between the optic nerve and the thalamus is the hypothalamus, just between the optic nerve and the thalamus. There's not a really good structure to point to, it's just the region in between the thalamus and the optic nerve.
Okay.
Alright. Leave anything off?
Yeah, should be good.